You know where it is?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you do too.
Welcome to Table Talk, where there's always room at the table. I am your host, Jonathan Harmon of the J. Harmon Home Team, and we can't wait to talk to these fine guests. Enjoy the show. And we're live. We are live. You gotta love live. You know, live is my favorite because you just never know. That was my Alvin and the Chipmunk voice on that. I don't know if you.
It was entertaining. I thoroughly loved that. It sounded a little bit like sucking on helium.
Yeah. Well, if you've ever wondered what I would sound like as an elf.
Oh, there you go.
That was it.
Or maybe you could join me when I portray Santa Claus during Christmas time.
Exactly. That's exactly what made me think about that. What is it? I like smiling. Smiling's my favorite. So we are live. It is Table Talk, and it is Monday morning. I haven't finished my first cup of coffee, so there is no telling what's going to happen today, and it's going to be exciting. We got Trent Denson back there pushing all the buttons. Hey, Trent. He said, hey. He didn't have a mic handy yet. He's still pushing buttons and organizing stuff. And we've got a fantastic guest this morning, Mr. Thom Coats, Professor Thom Coats.
Yep.
And he is the director for the Center for Professional Selling over at MTSU. We're repping Jones College right here. That's right.
That's right.
My alma mater, my school right there. I stay in touch. I went and met the dean, the new dean the other night. She's awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ran by the office on the way up here to grab those mugs, and she was coming in as I was walking out. So I had a great opportunity to pick on the new dean. I said, yeah, half the day's already burnt, and you're just now showing up. Of course, it's 8 a.m. when she's coming in.
Right. Normal human time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Early for academia, but yeah, she's on spot.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, I got to have a brief conversation with her and Dr. Heems over there, and I think she's going to do a great job. I'm excited.
Yep.
So I think they shifted gears a little bit as far as personality goes. She's not quite as intense as Dean Urban was. Dean Urban's awesome.
Yes.
But I like her approach too. So it's good to change that up sometimes.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. So good stuff. Okay. So we've got Professor Thom Coats here, Center for Professional Selling. You and I had a chance to meet. Oh gosh, it's been at least a year ago, and possibly a little longer than that. And just I got to learn a little bit about what your baby over there on campus is and what you guys are doing. And I was very excited about what you guys do and your little lab that's down there on the first floor.
Oh, is that the coolest thing ever?
It's so cool. Yeah. And just some of the other stuff that you guys are doing. But we've got you tonight over at Cedar Glade Brews.
Right.
And J. Harmon Home Team does 6 times a year, we do what we call pitch practice. Mm-hmm. And so what this came from is the Chamber of Commerce here once a month does the pitch. Mm-hmm. And basically you've got, I don't know, 30, 35 people, 40 people, something like that in a room. And they've got a 1 minute, they're on the clock and Kelly Beam, by God, it is 1 minute or she starts throwing stuff at you. And you've got 1 minute to pitch your business, mm-hmm. what you're doing, your organization, whatever it happens to be, and include in there certain aspects. BNI, Business Networking International, has a similar format mm-hmm. for their meetings, and a lot of networking groups do too. So this kind of idea of a 1 minute pitch, if you're one of my questions, so I'm jumping the gun a little bit, is who needs a good pitch?
Who gets asked, what do you do for a living? Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everybody needs a pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Let's back up a moment. First day of class, when you walk into my professional selling class, it's not just syllabus day like many students think it's going to be. I teach you a very simple template for an elevator pitch, day one. And then I have you stand up in front of your peers and give your pitch first day of class.
Unpolished.
Love it. It's just raw as could be. Then about midterm, we have an elevator pitch competition where you have 30 to 90 seconds to give your pitch in front of some judges. And mm-hmm. I tell the students, once you get past 60 seconds, you're boring.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to have a pitch. I was coaching one of the students prepping for this competition. And, in my professional selling class, I have kids from all over campus. And this young person, she was a music management major.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, Professor Coates, I'm in music. We don't do that. That's a business thing. Like it was kind of like, okay.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody sells. Have
Yeah.
you not been paying attention? And I said, okay. So I went through the 5 things with her again. I said, can you answer that? She goes, yeah. The 5th thing on the 5 questions, and I'll teach your folks that tonight. So there's your hook, is the important part. It's the why.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets you interesting to talk to. Your sole purpose is not to sell anything. It's just to ignite a relationship, to be interesting enough to if somebody wants to talk to you more.
Figure out the connection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, oh, I could do that. She came in 3rd in the competition.
Of course she did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. So everybody needs to be able to answer that question.
Well, I mean, I've even said, you pitch to your kids, you pitch to your parents' kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
You pitch to the barista at whatever coffee shop,
Yeah.
Hey, can I get a little extra whatever? Yeah, I mean, that's a pitch, whether so I mean, it's you get pulled over for a ticket, you pitch to the police officer that pulled you over, I hope. I mean, unless you're like me sometimes and you just go, yeah, I did it. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad got out of the car and met the highway patrolman at his hood and go, what's the problem? And I'm,
He don't need to do that anymore.
No, you should never do that. That was very bad advice. And
Yeah.
even my dad, who knew everybody in that county, received a ticket from the highway patrolman. And he goes, I don't understand. I said, you're lucky he didn't shoot you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be careful. Now, I want us to make sure that we understand that there's the term pitch, like in a sales pitch. We're trying to VA explain a position or help somebody find a solution. So that's a sales pitch.
Right.
And then there's the elevator pitch. Now, and a lot of people get those two like they're the same, but an elevator pitch simply answers the question, what do you do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and the whole purpose of that is to actually have something to say that's not stupid. Okay, so because I've sat there in these events like you were talking about earlier, the B&I type events, the networking type events, and you have grown people that all of a sudden they have to give an elevator pitch about what do they do, and they start rambling on.
It's like they have marbles in their mouth.
They do,
Yeah.
and I've actually seen people break down and cry, because it's like it's a lot of pressure to answer that on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't ever put yourself in that position. Actually have an answer prior to that.
I prep my team, my real estate agents. I always prep them with the single most important question that you will ever get ever in this industry is how's the market? And when you're asked how's the market, that is your opportunity to shine.
Yes.
But you got to figure some things out really quick, about your audience.
Yep.
Right. And then from there, you've got to have a practiced, polished, not stupid
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
answer. Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. And, I tell them there's 3 things that is happening there. One is somebody's making small talk with you, potentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, that's great because they know to make small talk with you about real estate. So you've already won that headspace battle.
Yes.
That's good. 2, they know the answer that they think and they're testing you, right? Or 3, they genuinely want to know your answer. And it could be a combination.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a job interview in my
all day long. That is a job interview, and regardless of the line of work. And I guarantee you that you're coaching your team, and the answer, well, the facts will change depending on what is actually happening in the market. But the framework of the answer
stays the same,
never changes.
That's right.
And that's important because if you have a framework that you can work from, then you could copy and paste.
Yeah.
And that is significant.
You just put in current data.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have that framework in place, then you're going to ramble. And then
Mm-hmm.
you start getting nervous, and then you don't answer it correctly, and you talk too much, and that's the worst possible thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get your facts right. It's just awful. Have a framework in place and then plug in the appropriate information. I
That's
mean, it
exactly right.
just makes sense.
I love that. I love that. At this break, at this moment, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna hear from our buddy Brian Nail over at Premise Mortgage. We love this guy. He's a big supporter of all things Spread the Positive. He's an MTSU grad as well,
Cool.
and also happens to be my favorite lender in the business.
Hey, my name is Brian Nail. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Premise Bank Mortgage. I want to tell you that I absolutely love being a member of the Spread the Positive Network. It's such a great mission and helps bring so much positivity to our community. It's truly a pleasure to be part of. There are a lot of ways to navigate financing a home, and in markets like this, having the advice of a trusted local professional is key to making sure you get the right advice for your specific circumstances. Whether you're interested in the purchase of a new home, second home, or have a need for a refinance, I'd love to earn your trust. If I can help you nail your mortgage, call me at 615-243-3976 or visit nailyourmortgage.com.
Premise Mortgage is a subsidiary of Premise Bank, a member FDIC, equal housing opportunity. As always, all loans are subject to approval. Premise Mortgage, NMLS number 1894879.
And so happy that you are a supporter of Spread the Positive and a big ally here for J. Harmon Home Team. All right, so we've talked about why we need a pitch. And by the way, real quick, tonight. So this is Monday tonight at 6 p.m. over at Cedar Glade Brews, 906 Ridgely Road. We've got our pitch practice.
Yep.
So Professor Coats is gonna lead that. Going to talk about the framework. We won't get too in depth right now, but he's going to talk about that framework and going to talk about how to formulate that, practice that, and then when to use it, right?
Yeah.
Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? And so we're pretty excited about that. If you want to come and attend, be there at 6 o'clock. If you could sign up, that would be awesome. And that you can do that through the J. Harmon Home Team website. All right. So we know who needs a good pitch. Basically everybody,
If
right?
you're breathing.
If you're
Yes.
breathing, if you have a job, and everybody has some kind of job,
Right.
What do you do for a living? How do you read the room? So, and here's what I mean by that. I'm not going to give you the same pitch that I'll give Trent necessarily, right? And it's not, you're both handsome bald men, so it's not because of that, so how do you read the room? How do you decide? He's wearing a hat? Yeah, he's very sensitive about that. Yeah. But how do you read the room? How do you know what pitch to give someone?
Yeah, that's a great question. And then, well, first let's travel back in time for just a moment. There is a sales poem that's ancient of days, and you've probably have heard it. If you want to sell Jim Jones what Jim Jones buys, you must first see Jim Jones through Jim Jones' eyes. Okay, so you have to have empathy for who you're speaking with. So you're absolutely right. You have to recognize your audience and know who they are, but also not just important as who they are, but who do they think they are? What's important to them? So those are some keys that you really need to grab a hold to quickly. A lot of that can be the environment that you're actually engaging them in.
Sure.
That's
Well, and that also determines the length, right? I mean, if you're at a 400 person Chamber of Commerce business after hours,
oh my goodness, yes.
Please, and you've each got a drink in your hand, don't stand there and try to sell to them for 10 minutes.
Okay, you're all right. Calm down, Tom. Okay, so you open that door. All right, so first off, when you walk into that chamber event, number one, you're not there to eat all the food that you can. You're not there for supper.
Not there to get drunk.
You're not there. So if you do adult beverages, make that one last the whole time.
That's right.
Go back to the bar and have them keep putting mixer in there for you. By
That's
the
right.
end of the evening, that's Coca-Cola. All right, so all of that, you have one objective, but three parts to it.
I'm curious if this is going to match what I coach. Go ahead.
Okay, cool.
I'm very excited right now.
Yeah, because meet someone new. Because if you go in there, just go to the same old, and I've seen these people at the Chamber of Commerce meetings, and they'll go in and you got that cool kid table where it looks like a family reunion
It's
or
not
college.
networking, it's a party.
It's visiting. Do that on your own time.
Right.
All right. So meet someone new. We're not going for volume. You're going for quality. Hold a quality, hold a reasonable conversation, a rational conversation, relevant conversation. You know, it doesn't have to be about work, doesn't have to be about what you do for a living. It may be about whatever's going on at the particular time. Just hold a conversation with that other human being because this is human to human selves. And then be interesting enough in this conversation to where you can earn a follow-up meeting. Your sole purpose for that event is to earn another meeting to follow it.
My man. That is so I'm gonna add one step.
All right, let's hear it.
And so it would be step 0.5 before your step 1.
Okay.
Okay. Have a plan
Oh, all day long.
on who you might want to meet.
Yeah. Oh, and there's strategies for that.
Yes. And so my plan for that, my biggest strategy is acknowledge everybody that you're going to, if you attend these, you're going to make friends that you want to acknowledge and see.
Yeah.
So when you go, when you know that, you know who those 4, 5, 6, whatever people are. And let's say you want to meet a landscape designer,
Mhm.
right? Ask them first to introduce you. If they know a landscape designer, ask them for an introduction. That's step
Yes.
1. But you got to have that plan. Who do I need to add to my network? I need to add a landscape designer.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Trent,
Have it.
whoever, y'all know a landscape designer that happens to be here. Can you introduce me?
Yeah, exactly. For your team that goes in there, if they're walking in there together and hang out together that whole time, they're wasting their time. They
Complete
already know
waste.
each other.
Yep.
All right. So you go in there with that plan, that strategy. Okay. There's some things that you could do prior to walking through the room. But first off is often especially if you know the organizer, then you could get a list of the folks that are registered.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that way you could have a strategy on who that's going to be the most profitable conversation to try to
Sure.
have. If you don't have that, then you get there early. Trent and I were talking earlier that, I tend to old school, get early. Take out your smartphone. There's always the table of name tags. Take a picture of the name tags.
That's a great idea.
Always. Because not everybody comes. It's on the table, but they registered for the event. And that way, even if you didn't get to speak to them during the event, you go, "Hey, Trent, I think that you were registered for the event the other day. I did not get a chance to come by and say hi. Let's go have coffee to follow up. I'd love to chat with you."
Mm-hmm. I hate that I missed you.
Oh, exactly.
Mhm.
And man, that would even make Trent feel good, you know?
Mhm,
You
mhm,
go, "Hey, that's kind of cool." All
mhm.
right. So those are some of the strategies on how to go into that event. You go in, you go meet new people. I tell my students that if you're passing out a handful of business cards, that's called schmoozing. And y'all, if there's not a coupon for coffee on the back, I'm throwing it away. That's just the way it is. Uh, but when you get in there and you start having these relevant conversations, they're going to ask, "Well, so what do you do?"
Mhm.
And that's when you have to have an answer that does not sound like it was written by your marketing department. It does not sound like it was written by your boss. It is your elevator pitch.
And it doesn't contain so much jargon
Oh,
that they have to say, now what is that again?
Yeah.
Now, granted, there are some jobs where it is what it is, and it's so technical that, I mean, but honestly, in those moments, it's like, okay, you're not just trying to impress me with the words that you're saying.
mm,
And I can pretty much instantly tell the difference,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
We integrate blah, 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 blah. Okay, you build networks.
Right.
I mean, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed of that. That's great. But,
Mhm.
you know,
And it should be in basic English that anyone can understand. I don't need to be in your industry to understand what you just said.
mhm,
Also, it's important. I mean, it's so important that when you start doing your elevator pitch, that the things that you're including in there are not things that are searchable through the internet. I don't care how many branches you have.
Mm,
If you're a banker, I don't care how many millions of dollars. Bankers are notorious for telling you the range of monies that they're allowed to loan.
right.
I mean, and I understand why that's important to them, but I don't need to know that. We can find that out during the coffee later. Right now, I need to know if you're a type of person I'd like to have a coffee with.
Well, and so I was thinking through this while you were talking about that, and maybe some of that is, I handle commercial loans from, 6 million to $30 million,
Mhm.
and so if I'm a commercial,
They're trying to qualify if this
yeah,
is a profitable
I
conversation.
only need $1 million or whatever,
Mhm.
right? So I don't fall into that. But to your point, if I know and like you, my goal, and I actually told my team this the other day. My goal in life is to be the I know a guy,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? So you might not ever need my services.
That's COI.
Yes, you might not ever need my services, but I don't necessarily need you to call me all the time for my services. I
Right.
want you to call me because you know that I know somebody that you need to know,
Correct. Yep.
even if you don't know that for sure. But you're
He's
like, I bet Jonathan would know that guy.
Jonathan knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's the key. So how do you get to that level? Well, first off, you go to these networking events, you meet people, you build that professional network, and you start from that point. But as you build that professional network, you're collecting professionals that you think that you would put your name
Yes,
next to their work. As you build that network of folks that you're comfortable with, then you become not just a networker, a professional, but a connector.
that's right.
There's some rules about being a connector. One, we don't keep score. If I give you a referral, I don't expect you to give me a referral back. I
Right,
don't keep score. It
right.
just, this is what I do. And because I do that, I'm successful. It's weird, but that's the way it
It
works.
works.
I don't challenge that. If you ever want to read a really simple book, go read The Go Giver,
It's fantastic.
isn't it?
Uh-huh.
And that whole premise is the way that I teach the sales program.
Well, and I think that expectation is important. So if I send you a referral, I send you that referral because I genuinely believe that the person I'm sending you will be better because they're with you.
That I can help them.
And so the only thing that I expect or that I want to get out of that
Yeah.
is to feel good that I put them with the right person. That's it.
Yes, that's it.
And
That's
I don't even need to thank you. I just want to know that my person is taken care of by my other person.
true. Now, for everyone else out there, he doesn't need to thank you, but if he gives you a referral, you need to thank him. If he gives you a referral and you have that meeting with them, with that person, you need to let him know, hey, I had the meeting with Jonathan. It went really well. Thanks for the referral.
Mhm.
If Jonathan actually spends money with you, then you go back and you go, or then, hey, Jonathan spent money with me. He's now a client. Very happy. Thank you so much.
And most people do.
You sh- Not everybody, and that's why it
Yeah.
needs to be said out loud.
But it's not the expectation. It's not my
required.
expectation.
No, it's not
right?
required.
I'm not
but
looking for a pat on the back.
Nope, nope, not at all. But
I'm gonna
it
add
should be
one
said.
other thing too. And so and I don't know how to teach this, and maybe you do. Okay.
I'm scared.
No. You shouldn't be scared because I think you're gonna agree with me. One of the things that I have discovered and discovered about myself that I couldn't really quantify up until about maybe 2 years ago is I genuinely believe that every human being that I come in contact with has something that they can teach me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them.
Mhm.
I don't. It doesn't matter what age they are. It doesn't matter what state of mind they're in. Everybody. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic strata they're in.
Very true.
Every single person that walks this earth has something that they could teach me. I just have to be willing to hear it, and I have to take a genuine interest that that person has a value, right?
Yep.
And so when I meet someone new or when I'm seeking to meet someone new and when I'm having that conversation that set it up for a follow-up, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that is the critical point right there.
Right.
I genuinely want to learn more about that person.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, dude, it goes back to the very beginning of time. We're all created in the image of God, which makes us all very special. So we all have value that we bring to the table. Regardless of our position in life, that we have something that we're the expert in.
Yeah.
It may be something that you just do that you go, everybody does that, but that's not true. We all have things that are uniquely our superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to share that is crucial. I learned things from these students who are just, you know, they're young, they're inexperienced, and they teach left and right.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and it's so wonderful to be able to learn from that environment. I learned things from my grandchildren.
Sure.
Yeah. I learned things from my sons when they were growing up, mostly patience. Yeah. But it's constantly, so everybody brings value. Everybody brings a skill set or a point of view that go, I've never thought of it that way.
And it's because of their particular collection of experiences, right?
Yes.
I mean, you and I can grow up in the same town. We can grow up with the same, our parents can work together and have the same income and the same, I mean, everything's the same.
It's called the sphere of experience. As part of the communication lecture that I do in my class. Because, there's when we communicate, there's always noise.
Mm-hmm.
And the noise could be that, I have a South Mississippi accent.
Mm-hmm.
And so the weird way that I pronounce things just kind of are noise to you. Well, I have worked on making sure that the certain words that I know that are bit South Mississippi, I kind of round those out a little bit for you. And you don't get that right as much as I did when I was younger. All right, so you have that, but then you have, the colloquialisms that we grew up with that we just use in our common language are meaningless outside of that. We have this professor that she's new. She's from she's new. She's been around for a year now. She just celebrated her first anniversary at MTSU, and she has this boyfriend, and she's Italian, and I was picking on her about stud muffin. Now you've heard that phrase your entire life. She looked at me like I was an alien.
Well, she's trying to do the literal.
Yeah, exact English to Italian back. So so that's just a stupid little phrase that I grew up with. And so now she looks at me like I said, boyfriend. She goes, oh. So it's just, but of course, stuff like that's fun. So, our colloquialisms or noise, but then our sphere of our experience, it can be noise. I was born in 1960, so my experiences are different from yours.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were talking about ugly colors in kitchens earlier, and I threw out a color that I was about a decade earlier than what you were thinking of ugly colors. And so but you were going to, oh yeah, that was an ugly color. So you could relate to it, but that was my first point of reference on ugly colors, something from the late 70s, early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have that field of experience that we bring to the table. We learn from those folks. My mother-in-law, she went through the Depression. Every penny that she spends is logged down in the book.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, always. End of the day, she's updating the book. She always has. She doesn't need to today, but that is her field of experience, and she will always do that.
Sure.
That responsibility that she does that, being disciplined enough to do that, I think is something that we should all look at and go, that's probably best practice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she felt the pain of.
She had the experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been very fortunate in my life to have met many of my great grandparents.
Yeah.
Which I know not everybody has that opportunity. And I remember my dad's grandmother telling me the story. She was born in the later 1800s, but the very first time that she ever saw a car.
Oh yeah.
And just the earth-shattering, mind-blowing scenario where her and her friend were walking to school down their, dirt road in Pennsylvania, and they hear this, awful racket, and they jump behind the bank, and, and they saw, I'd guess it was a Model T or whatever, just, kind of
Yeah,
coming
putter and
down the
lawnmower.
road.
Oh yeah, my mother, she just passed away a couple of years ago at 95, and her first driver's license, some buddies of hers, they grew up in Northeast Arkansas, and so some buddies of hers are going down to the county seat, and she asked them to pick up a driver's license for her. When I grew up, our Social Security number was our driver's license number.
Interesting.
And so, and it was, we also registered at the University, Mississippi State, with that, and we would yell that number across a crowd. I mean, the experience that we've had is so different from this.
Yeah.
Those things we bring to the table when we meet new people.
Right.
That
And it shades every
it
conversation.
does. Now, before you go into that networking event, we've already talked about having a strategy on who would be an important person to meet if you could work that out.
Right.
We've already talked about go, say hi to your friends, wave at them, but your purpose is to go meet that new people.
Mm-hmm.
To be prepared when you have that conversation with an elevator pitch. But let's back up to formulating that elevator pitch. And you need to understand who you are as an individual. And I know that sounds so yeah, but it's important to understand your motivation when you do your pitch. What is important to you? Where do you find your energy? Where do you find your joy
Mm-hmm.
in working with people? Is it that, hey, I'm a developer and I'm developing houses and communities and having all of that and seeing that all come together? Is that your joy, or is it like with me? It's hey, I can take a first generation student and teach that individual how to sell, and having the opportunity to change some family trees. That's my
Mm-hmm.
joy. So what
You're planting something that you won't see possibly.
exactly? So
Mm-hmm.
it's so cool that but as you formulate your elevator pitch, you really need to do some self-reflection. It's not just something that you spew out there. I mean, you actually need to think about this, because the best elevator pitches are ones where I can see who you are as a person.
Mm.
My financial advisor here in town is Ivy Burns, and he has an elevator pitch that he used to use. I don't know what he says now, but his elevator pitch had something in there talking about when you come close to retirement, he wants you to feel as comfortable as you did in your grandmama's kitchen smelling the fresh baked apple pie. That took me back to my youth.
Yeah.
And it made me comfortable. And it also told me who Ivy is as a person, because that was a relevant point of reference for him as well. And to go, I think we're a kindred spirit here. I like that. So having something like that as part of your elevator pitch, where you can use those word pictures and you can use that point from your heart. I think it's important.
I love that. I don't know that I can relate to. I don't think I can get you back to your grandmama's apple pie. That's a steep order.
He did it. Now he has an advantage. He has a good Southern accent, and we're very good at word pictures in the Deep South.
For sure. That's awesome. All right, we're gonna stop here in just a second because I know it's been over 30 minutes. Can you believe that?
No,
this has gone fast. I don't want to spill all the beans. That's the thing, right? So we've got an event this evening. If you're a professional, even if you're not a professional, whatever job it is that you have, you're a professional at something.
Yes.
Right. You could stand to benefit from this evening. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Professor Coats is going to walk you through those steps. He's going to spend some time with the group and with some of the individuals in developing that. and you get to hang out with some pretty cool people too. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's gonna be fun, you know. And here's the thing: if you're uncomfortable with this topic, with this kind of topic, if you're
Mhm.
uncomfortable with the idea of selling yourself,
Right.
right? And a lot of folks are. Um, the best way to overcome that, A, is to practice it.
Yes.
B is to practice it with somebody that knows how to coach you,
Mhm.
right? And then C is just to do it.
Yeah, that's it right there. Then if you're that introvert and you do not derive your energy from that human engagement,
Mhm.
which there's a lot. I'm sort of in that account, but not fully into it.
Not me, I'm the total opposite.
But if that's you, then this class is really good for you
Yeah,
because what that will do is will give you a framework. Because quite frankly, let's make sure that we do it right the first time so we don't have to repeat it.
and fix it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
it's important that we get that and we have that down pat so that when we go out there, we get our most bang for our buck, the most of our time invested in it because it's exhausting for that introvert, that
sure.
H to H encounter, that human to human encounter. But we know that that's part of life. We know that we need to go do that. So let's make sure that we get it done right so that we could benefit from that effort.
And I would throw in that right doesn't mean perfect
Oh,
as
no.
well. And I see this in my industry a lot is this idea of failure to launch, that we're going to sit and we're going to work on this plan and we're going to plan and then we're going to plan some more and then we're going to perfect the plan and then we're going to plan a little bit more and then we're going to perfect it a little bit more, but we never actually do it.
Benjamin Franklin says, well done is better than well said.
Mm,
So you could sit back and plan. But if you never actually pull the trigger and start doing, then that's just useless.
yep, that's exactly right. And there's all kinds of different things that people say about that. And you know, sometimes good enough is good enough to get started,
Mhm.
and perfect is the enemy of good enough, and perfect is sometimes the enemy of
Well,
start. So
perfect is the killer of action.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. You don't have to be perfect to do something.
You just got to get started.
Yeah,
That's it.
that is a fear, and I acknowledge that's a fear, but let's get past that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Professor Thom Coats, director for the Center for Professional Selling. Professional selling. I don't know why I struggle with that. Going to be 6 o'clock tonight over at Cedar Glade Brews, 906 Ridgely Road. We would love to have you. I think you'll get a lot from it. And it really, to your point, it really doesn't matter what your job is. This is an opportunity for you to come and learn a little bit of something that's going to help you in any of your situations.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me
Come
too.
have fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Trent, you got anything going on? He said no, thumbs up. My man over there pushing the buttons, hitting record. I guess that's it. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you again real soon.